This is Ben Davison. Subscribe to Stephen Icon.
So Wladimir Klitschko, who's obviously shared the ring with both Tyson Fury and of course Anthony Joshua, was asked a question: who wins between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury should these guys ever meet? And this is what Wladimir Klitschko had to say. Hands down, Joshua. He is getting to be the complete fighter. Technically, size-wise, weight-wise, power-wise, and he's a good learner. The other guy, Fury, is like a fart in the wind, where it is there and then it's gone. In the history of boxing, there are a lot of examples of this kind of guy. They could be successful for a time, but are not disciplined enough to continue to be successful. I wish Tyson well, but I think there's a lack of discipline there. And discipline is more important than motivation. Drawing from my experience, I would say it's going to be very difficult for Tyson because there's lack of discipline. That is Wladimir Klitschko's statement. And of course, he's also said about Deontay Wilder as well, about him potentially facing Anthony Joshua as well. And this is what Klitschko had to say about the Joshua-Wilder situation. It will be a dangerous fight for Joshua. I'm not saying he wouldn't win, but Wilder has something. Due to his weight, he's extremely fast. He has good power in his hands and he's extremely fast. Maybe he's kind of wild in his technique, but those punches are coming from who knows where. He's hard to defend against. Where is that punch going to land, or which side is it coming from? Joshua has all-round more capability, but Wilder is taller than Joshua and faster than Joshua. He doesn't have the weight behind his punches, but he's extremely fast. And it will be dependent upon what kind of mood both fighters were in. So that was Wladimir Klitschko's statement there as well. So I'm not exactly too sure what he's saying. Is he saying that Joshua beats Fury, but Wilder beats Joshua? I think that's pretty much what I'm saying. Although he did say it's a dangerous fight for Joshua, for Wilder, but he's not saying he wouldn't win, but Wilder has something. So just from that, I can pretty much presume that he's picking Wilder to beat Joshua. Maybe. But anyway, with Tyson Fury, obviously he shared the ring with both of them. Tyson Fury, he schooled him for the majority of the fight. You could probably argue 12 rounds, right? Where Tyson Fury just outboxed him, frustrated him, and of course was playing all the mind games, leading right the way up to it, of course, and he never quite got his rematch. So there might be a little bit of a niggle for him and Tyson Fury, where that's concerned, because he just doesn't like Tyson Fury, the fact that he never got his chance of redemption against Tyson Fury, and obviously he feels like he was messed about. So maybe he's picking Joshua for that reason. But who knows? Or maybe he's just being genuine, where he says Joshua beats him, based on the fact that, I don't know, maybe he realises that he just wasn't on form, he just wasn't doing it right against Fury, or it could just be that he genuinely believes that maybe Joshua would walk through some of Tyson Fury's punches. But ultimately, we'll really have to wait and find out. But when it comes to Deontay Wilder, I mean, he is right. Wilder is very, very fast. There's no doubt about it. And he does have that power. But the power resonates the same way as it does with David Haye. It's the speed that does the damage more than the power. It really is. And I have to agree with him on that one. I mean, I think if he hits Joshua, it's going to be lights out. I'm pretty sure of it. But ultimately, find out, eh? That's what we really, really want. I mean, for me, I believe that Joshua, he handles bigger guys better than he does the shorter guys. I say shorter, the bigger than like me and most of you guys, right? Anyway, but when it comes to the shorter guys like a Takam and a Parker, obviously they crouch down and try and get on the chest and that kind of thing. And Joshua don't like that. Wilder is complete opposite. Wilder is very, very straight backed, and he is there to be hit. He gets hit in pretty much every single fight, as in regular and hard. So he does walk into shots because his defense is terrible. If he can't get out of the way of a shot, as in with his feet, then he gets hit. So he's got zero head movement to a point, but you could argue the same with Joshua, right? He's got zero head movement. But it does seem that once a fighter feels Joshua's power not necessarily concussive from like one punch knockout, but when he hits you, you kind of realise you're in for a very long, hard night. And a lot of fighters tend to go on the defensive there. So it'll be interesting as to what kind of mentality Wilder would have when he's actually hit hard by Joshua. Now, again, I'm not saying that when Joshua hits Wilder, it's instantly good night. I don't think that at all. I think it's one of those kind of situations where Joshua would hit Wilder, he'd hurt Wilder, he'd hit him again, Wilder would wobble, and then ultimately Joshua would tee off on him, and then Wilder will end up going down, or the referee will step in. It'll be something along those lines. Whereas Wilder can hit you once, because it comes from like the other side of the ring, and it hits you flush, then it's good night, really. So that is the way to beat Wilder. And obviously 40 of his opponents, 39 of his 40 fights, obviously he's fought Bermeister twice, so 39 of his opponents couldn't get out of the way of his big right hand. So that is the way to beat him, though. If you take away the right hand, what else does he have? Not much. He's got a bit of speed, but his boxing capability is not that good. His jab's okay, but there's so many better out there. But it's the right hand. You take that right hand away, you beat Wilder all day, every day. But ultimately, we have to wait and see. Can Joshua get out of the way of his big right hand? This is the problem. We don't know, because his lack of head movement, well, I'll say lack of, he does move his head, of course he does, but it's not as good as maybe it should be, you know? And if Joshua don't move, maybe Joshua is a sitting duck for Wilder. Personally, I don't think so. I think Joshua walks through him. But going back onto Tyson Fury, again, Tyson Fury is one of those awkward guys. I mean, if he can get back into the form that he was in when he fought Derek Chisora for a second time, when he fought Christian Hammer, and of course, WLADIMIR KLITSCHKO, if he can get back to that kind of form, this is a real difficult fight for Joshua. Not in the sense where there's a real danger that he's going to get knocked out. I mean, hey, listen, Tyson Fury can knock people out. He just doesn't seem to do it lately. Or his last few fights anyway, because he doesn't commit. He relies on winning the rounds, frustrating your opponent. Ultimately, some of them quit, like Derek Chisora had to, right? So he can well and truly outbox Anthony Joshua. I have no doubt that he could outbox him, potentially school him for 12 rounds, and maybe Joshua can't really land even a glove on him. But also, he does get a little bit brave. He does tend to engage from time to time into a fight, and that's what is going to lead to his undoing if he tries that with Joshua. Joshua will follow through with the uppercuts. Ever since he hit Klitschko with that uppercut, if you noticed, he's always been trying to land it every single fight, nearly every single round. So if he was to hit Tyson Fury with one of those uppercuts or one of those big rights, then for me, he takes Tyson Fury out. And that's what I've always said. It's either going to be a points win for Tyson Fury. I'm not saying he's going to win every round, but potentially he could. But ultimately, if Joshua hits him, it's good night. And it will be pretty much the same way with Tyson Fury against Deontay Wilder as well. A points win for Joshua or a knockout for Wilder. Now, I know Tyson Fury says that if he gets in the ring with either guy, he's going to knock him out. I'm not too sure of that at all. He can do it. I mean, you know, he's a big old unit and he does have power on him. He just opts not to do it because obviously when he throws the big punches, he overcommits. He leaves himself open for a counter. So he's kind of learned to adapt his game to skip around all that. Do you know what I mean? So either way, it'll be very interesting. Obviously, he's returning on June the 9th at the Manchester Arena. It'll be some journeyman or something like that. Some kind of ice cream driver, hot dog stand guy. It's going to be somebody who he should walk through, no problem. And there's nothing wrong with that because he's been out for quite a while. Obviously, he ballooned up in weight and obviously now he's shed a whole ton of weight. He really has. And a return to the ring, maybe nerves. So he wants to pretty much guarantee a victory where he's going to be fighting somebody who isn't going to be that dangerous to him, where even him in his amateur days, he would have probably won. So a comeback fight, it's no biggie, right? And ultimately, for the next couple of fights, I mean, if he gets hold of his debut fighter and just does an absolute number on this guy, and I fully expect whoever it's going to be, Tyson Fury, to knock him out, it's going to be that kind of level of opposition. Maybe he's going to move up a little bit from then on, maybe straight away. But for me, I agree with Frank Warren to a point, like a 2 or 3, should we say journeyman fights, or should we just call them bum fights? Whichever. I think they're probably the right things to do, and then try and look at moving up the ranks again. He is still lineal, so until he loses that, he will still be lineal. But ultimately, hopefully, Joshua versus Wilder happens next. That's what me, you, and a lot of people are hoping for. Just hopefully, Wilder can be a bit more, open in negotiations, because he did say it's about legacy, it's not about money. So whatever deal comes through, I would have been more impressed had he just signed it. I'd have been like, damn, so he's actually serious. You know, it's really not about money. He really believes he's going to beat Joshua. But because of all the stalling and haggling after what a huge deal for him compared to what he usually makes, for me, it seems that clearly he's not as confident as winning this fight. But ultimately, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe he is actually going to sign it. Who knows? Waiting for the counter offer. Don't know what's happening with that one yet. There's rumours that they're asking for 20 million if they want a flat fee, and there's also rumours of they're going to stick to 40%. But we'll have to wait and see. So drop your thoughts below for Wladimir Klitschko's statement that he believes that Joshua beats Tyson Fury quite comfortably, and he finds that Deontay Wilder, just going by his statement there, I think he's saying that Deontay Wilder is actually going to beat Anthony Joshua. But of course, me, you, every other professional out there, we always get things wrong from time to time, and I do disagree with Wladimir Klitschko for the Wilder one, no doubt. And I find that Joshua against Fury is a lot harder than maybe what Klitschko's saying. But let's see. Drop your thoughts below. Click that thumbs up. Subscribe. Catch you next video.